Riders and horses were arriving after traveling long distances for many hours to ride this weekend in the 25-mile, the 50-mile, or the 100-mile endurance rides.
It's truly an amazing sport. It really is. It's you as a rider. You're the only person that knows what's going on with that horse. And it is an extreme sport. There's no doubt about it. It's as extreme as, I don't know what the extreme sports are, like skydiving, everything like that.
Ride managers do not put these rides on to make money. They do it because of their love of the sport. The volunteers are the ones that put in incredible hours, longer than they're there before the first rider and they're there long after the last rider. They're invaluable.
Ride managers go to a lot of work to put on an endurance ride. The 50-mile ride will use some of the loops that are the same as the 100-mile loops. So the trails must be carefully marked so the riders know which loop they're supposed to take. Horses need lots of water when they're running an endurance ride. At Fort Howes, water is placed on the trail at about 1/2 hour intervals.
There were 146 entries in the ride this year, and of those registrants, there were about 15 from Canada, 3 from Germany, and many from the East Coast. Also quite a few from California.
It's a partnership, and you really feel that bond with your horse. You feel like you can just communicate with them without saying anything. And I've never had that feeling before where you were just one with the horse. It seems like quite a grueling thing to do, but I guess you could probably ask marathon runners the same kind of questions. It's just a personal challenge.
Saturday's ride was very, very tough. I ride a 16-hand Morgan with huge feet, and the trail was very slippery. It was very deep with mud. It was on the steep slopes. It was quite scary.
And the bond that you establish with the horse doing distance is pretty incredible.
After finishing a race, each horse is examined by a veterinarian to affirm that the horse is sound and could continue. Riders were being weighed for Sunday's big 100-mile ride, and more horses were going through vet checks.
Oh, the vetting is absolutely superb. You couldn't ask for better vets. They're there to help the horse, but they want to see you finish too, so they'll give you advice. And
early Saturday evening, word got out that food was being served.
I would like to say that Montana has the greatest hospitality. The food was excellent, and we have been made to feel so welcome here. Of all the rides I've gone to, and there's been many, many over the years of my competitions, this is certainly the homiest and most welcoming ride.
There were 52 riders who started the 100-mile ride.
Just you could see for miles and miles. Really fantastic scenery on this ride. It's almost a shame that we're doing it so fast we don't have time to stop and look at it.
well, my strategy here was just to finish it and get a certificate of qualification, which meant he had to finish at 12 kilometers an hour. But at the start, I just couldn't hold him. Then I was out in the front, and I mean, I had never intended to be there with this horse on his first 100, but I just could not tire him out. And so finally, I got to thinking, okay, you can run with the front runners till you're tired. Well, he did, and he never got tired. So that I really didn't. My strategy was blown right after the first vet check, and then it was just sort of winging it.
For much of the last half of the 100-mile ride, Mina Kyderman and V Kanavy were riding together, well in the lead. They came in together at a crew point at 70 miles. Each had crew there waiting for them.
Crewing is, for 100 like this, is absolutely essential to have good crew. You get so tired that you really can't take care of yourself and your horse the way you should. So if you don't have crew when you're going this hard, it's really difficult.
I have found there's usually a pretty low point in the ride, and that's, I would say, between 60 and 80 miles. You know, you're kind of still wired up to 60, and then 60 to 80, I think, what did we have here, 60 to 85. That's my sort of really low point. And then, of course, the last is like, you know, you're doing the countdown thing. I used to joke, you know, it was time for somebody to start telling stories that time, you know, kind of take your mind off of everything. But the trail is picturesque. There are some tremendous views on the trail. Those fields there, it's got to be about at 75 miles into the ride. You know, the horses were coming to the top part of the loop, and they were headed back, coming back toward camp, and they sort of sensed that, and we were coming down the hill, and gravity was, you know, feeding into there, and they were sort of taking off and wanting to get over that next hill and home. So were we. Yeah, that was a nice piece of the trail. It was real pretty. We crested the hill, came down the other side, and took the next hill, and we were on our way. Yeah, I think the horses knew there, but yeah, there were some pretty open fields. We did take time, you know, even between to say, oh, look at this view and look at that view, because there are some pretty spectacular places. It is really a pretty, pretty trail.
Jan Worthington left the crew point next, but M.J. Jackson, who she'd been riding with, stayed behind for a while to give her horse some extra rest. Jan Worthington, here, is at about the 99-mile point in the 100-mile ride.
I did have a fabulous weekend here, finishing first the second day. This is his very first 100, and I thought I had, you know, one heck of a horse. He has done some really fast 50s, and my goal this weekend was to bring him here and make him tired, because I've never been able to tire that horse out. Well, I didn't accomplish my goal, because at the end of the 100 he was still pulling people around and being a knothead, but I still have to be pretty pleased with him, because he finished against a lot of seasoned endurance horses, and he's finished so well and looked so great.
I knew that I had to either win it, or early on I didn't have to beat Mina. And what I said when I started, my goal was to be able to get to the Pan Am Games and also to get my horse qualified for the Worlds. And they asked me my goals prior to the race. I was going to go as slow as I could possibly get away with and still be competitive. So that's what I did.